Hello, welcome to the Projection Project. My name is Rain, and I'm your super awesome, epic, and cool host. And today I have with me Syd.
Hi.
And just to specify, this is a different Syd than the third episode. How do you feel to be on the podcast?
Kind of nervous, but like also really excited. This is cool. Like I've never done anything like this before.
I almost said me too. Me too. Well, like generally, me too, I guess, before I'd started this. I'd only done like school project, not even school projects like this. Like, you know, where you like film your voice and have you ever done anything like that?
Send in, like I have to do one today or tomorrow to send in for Wednesday.
Honestly, those are the worst. We have to film your voice and you're like super monotone talking.
Yeah.
I hate that. Anyway, we're not here to talk about school projects.
School projects.
Yeah, and today we talk about school projects. Today, we're here to talk about Harry Potter, but not the reunion because that was last episode. If you didn't catch last episode, go watch it. What are you doing? Anyway, today we are here to talk about some of the bad things in Harry Potter. Yeah, but everything is not super great and fantastic in Harry Potter, despite how loved of a franchise it is. There are a lot of bad things about it. The question is where to start, I guess.
Oh man, that's very good. Honestly, there are some bad things in the series, but the Cursed Child, that book, that was just not good at all. Like everything about that in general, just like everything about it was like, whoa.
I have not read it, but I've heard tons of bad things about it. And I heard that it was like written in like play format instead of like book format.
Yeah.
Why did JKR make a book and then write it in play format?
I was very confused on that. Like growing up, I loved Harry Potter, and my mom, when that book came out, she got it for me and she was like, it's in play format just to let you know. I was like, huh, okay. Like I don't know why.
And then I was like, because I think my mom got it to read it. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know what happened in the book because I remember seeing the book in my mom's room. And I don't know what happened to it afterwards. But I remember someone, I don't know how I found out the plot to it. But then once I did find out the plot to it, I was like, this has to be fake, right?
It was like, I like blocked that book out of my brain. Like
no way this is canon.
Right?
Like I've read better fanfics and I'm not huge into fanfics, but like that it was childish. Mm-hmm. It was really childish. And the fact that it came out after the whole series has happened, and the whole series generally, the plot is pretty good. Mm-hmm. But no.
Like what was that?
what was Jake? What was she thinking? Like, what was JK thinking? Was like, yeah, the fans are gonna love this. No.
Yeah, JK would have been better just not having it as a book at all. Like, we were all fine before it came.
Wait, does anyone remember, like, before the movie, or not the movie, the book came out, what, like, the advertising for the book was? Like, what was the book supposed to be about in advertising? I think the book came out too long ago for me to remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Because I was like, I think it was advertised just to be like, like just their kids, but not like the whole Cedric Death Eater part. Oh, for anyone who doesn't know, okay, so if anyone doesn't know the plot of the Cursed Child, let us tell you about it, okay?
So exciting.
So, wait, did you end up reading the book or no?
I did. Oh my gosh, it was so long ago. Like, I can't even remember.
So basically, while I try to kind of like rough it out, please add anything that I forget.
Yeah.
So basically, Scorpius and Albus, which is Draco and Harry's kids, they are it's Harry's oldest son. They're both in Slytherin, by the way. They find a time turner, I'm pretty sure, and they're like, we have to fix we have to save Cedric for some fucking reason. I don't know.
Out of everything you can do.
Yeah, they're like, we have to save Cedric, even though everything is just fine. So they go back to the second event, I believe the second Triwizard Tournament event, and they do some, like, they save Cedric, basically. They get him out of the tournament somehow. I don't remember what they do. But basically, Cedric embarrasses himself, and he gets so embarrassed that he decides to become a Death Eater in the whole process. And I think in the same, like in this book, we find out that Bellatrix and Voldemort have a daughter.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There was some girl.
I actually kind of like her name. I wish I could remember her name.
I have the book right here. I went and grabbed it, so I can.
Let me look.
There's like this Delphi here.
Oh yeah, I think her name is Delphinium. That's a flower, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's.
But I think it is Delphi. But yeah, whenever I found out that Cedric became a Death Eater, I was like, they're joking, right?
Like, out of everyone you choose to be a Death Eater, like,
no, he wouldn't become a Death Eater. No way. Wait, isn't it because he becomes a Death Eater, like the Death Eaters win the war?
They might.
I don't remember that part. I don't ask us. No.
I forget everything.
I think most people choose to ignore that it's canon.
Everything that happens here just didn't happen in my brain.
Yeah, I think I would purposely ignore it too.
Like I've read like all the Young Dudes, which is like the fanfic about the Marauders. That is more canon than that book right there. Like, to me at least.
I want to read all the Young Dudes, or not. I don't want to. Like I said, I'm not huge into fanfics, but I know that like that's what I'll make canon for the Marauders, and that's not what I want to do. So I think that's part of the reason why I don't want to read all the Young Dudes. But I've heard it's fantastic.
It was amazing. Like me too. Like I'm not that big into fanfics and stuff like that, but that was something else. Like I went to my friend's cottage and she was reading it. I was like, oh my gosh, where'd you find that? So like we're sitting there 3 days. I read it and it's like,
you read it in 3 days.
3 days, like nonstop, and it's like long.
Yeah, I heard that, or like I've seen that like people making it like 3 books, and I'm like,
yep. It was great though.
Anyway, hopefully moving on from the cursed child. God. I wonder what are like the reviews on the cursed child. Let's look it up.
If I see any like 5-star reviews, I'm gonna laugh.
Oop, I spelled cursed wrong. Cursed child reviews. It's like, okay, let me explain it why I'm laughing. First of all, it has a 3.7 on Google. The fact that that's so high is incredible. And so let me explain this also, is that most of them are 5, but the next highest number is 1. I want to read some of the 1 reviews. Oh god, this one's too long. This one says, what a massive disappointment. I hate this book. It completely ruined Harry Potter.
These are all like really long.
It says, okay, this one says there are 5 problems. Time Turners, Harry Potter's actions, Voldemort and Bellatrix, Ginny and Harry, and Cedric Diggory. And then it gives explanations to all of them.
This is the worst book I've ever read. That's quite fair. They said that there's only 1 line that they like from this book, and it's from Snape, and it says, "Tell Albus Severus, I'm glad he has my name." That's it. So all the 1-star reviews are so long. Like you click read more, and you have to like scroll. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on from the cursed child. I totally forgot about the Cursed Child. I think it's because I didn't read it. I guess it's kind of going into Cursed Child is how many plot holes there are in the Harry Potter series itself. I get this happens a lot in any kind of world building or fantasy series you make, but there were too many that could have easily been filled. I think the one that a lot of people are familiar with is how Peter framed Sirius, and then they immediately took Sirius to Azkaban I don't know if did he have a trial? I don't remember if he had a trial or not.
I feel like, didn't they like catch him like in the house or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, I literally don't remember. But if he at least had a trial, they could have used Veritaserum to see if he was telling the truth. And playing devil's advocate just for a second, I think the only reason why that they don't use Veritaserum to use it more in criminal cases is because I remember in the Harry Potter books, at least, that Veritaserum was really hard to make. With like most potions, I guess, like all of them are so fucking hard to make. I guess potion masters just suck. I don't know, like, but why didn't they use it in like a big case like this? I think they immediately threw Sirius to Azkaban. I don't think he got a trial.
Yeah, they may have. And in like the 5th book, Snape says something about or Umbridge says something about using Veritaserum on Harry. Like, if in just a small like little situation, but they can't use it when it comes to like sending people to jail or Azkaban or whatever.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they can use it. I don't know. Because I know that in the 5th book, Umbridge was interrogating students by putting Veritaserum in their tea because she tried to interrogate Harry, and Harry doesn't drink the tea because Moody told Harry not to drink stuff from other people. And that's basically how the one girl slipped up about the order was because of Veritaserum. I forgot her name, Marietta. Her name starts with an A, or not an A. It was Cho's friend.
Yeah.
I think her name Marietta. I think that's her name. But yeah, and then they were all out of Veritaserum because Snape not used it, but Umbridge used it all. But I wish that the serious thing could have been solved so easily.
Yeah, or even like at like order meetings, like Order of the Phoenix meetings, just like, everyone drink up, like it's not that hard.
And they used it so calmly in the 4th book whenever they're like, hey, are you Alistair Moody? And then, no, I'm not. Like, what? They used it in every other scenario except for that. Like, yeah, I don't know.
A lot of lives could have been saved, but nope.
Yeah, nope. There are more plot holes, but suddenly I can't think of any.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I literally watched all the Harry Potter movies a couple months ago, like in order finally, and because I always skip the first 2 movies just because the acting is bad because they're children. Also because I find the first 2 kind of boring. Also Chamber of Secrets is like my least favorite one. But
my favorite when I was a kid. I don't know what I was thinking.
Kid you was crazy.
Kid me was crazy.
I watched all them. I was like before I went to Universal, so I could like fully remember everything because I read all the books in 2020 and early 21 or 2021 because it was the first time I'd ever read the books. If you are wondering if you should read the books, they're really worth the read. They're really worth the read. Yeah. If you're wondering, because there's small differences. Athena and I talk about some of the book differences in the Do We Miss Draco Talk episode, I believe. If you want to check it out. But yeah, moving on to another thing is okay. Oh, it's how Dumbledore treats Harry and like stuff like that.
I like
He
there's so many things Dumbledore does that just don't sit right in my brain.
is exactly because if you think about it, Snape is totally right at the end where he said, "You're raising a pig for slaughter." He was. He totally
Yeah.
was.
Like I don't like Snape, but that is like the truest thing I've ever heard. Like
I personally like Snape. I'm not a Snape apologist. I don't believe hitting kids is the way to go, but I he's totally right. Like Dumbledore let Harry do all these dangerous things and let him get along with all these dangerous things. He could have stopped the Triwizard tournament and just let Harry participate anyway. Like
yeah.
he was 14.
Like come on. And then there's all like the like he gives him riddles to try and find horcruxes, but like just
And the Horcrux thing is hard. Like no normal 17 to 18-year-old can do that.
yeah. Like he had trouble. And how old is he? Like
I know, and he left Harry to find like basically all of them.
yeah.
So, and then oh my god, like I was like thinking about it the other day and I was like he really, and even like 12-year-old, 11-year-old Harry with Professor Quirrell like letting all that shit happen. I was like
what is that? Come on.
like I get that Hogwarts is a dangerous place. Like generally like the Wizarding World is a more dangerous place. But like some of the stuff that was happening, I was like, are you serious right now?
Like he's a child. Don't do that. Like that's imagine the trauma that he has because
I know. And then he decided to become an Auror.
just like live a normal life, Harry.
Well, like he's a great wizard and he was definitely going to be very good at his job. But I what?
Like every year he had to go through something like traumatic that honestly like nobody else probably would have had to go through. But every year he goes through it for 7 years.
I guess the most normal year for him was I don't know, either fifth or sixth year was probably the most normal, but it consisted of death. So I'm like, I would say sixth year was probably the most normal.
Yeah, because I feel like in fifth year, like that death for him was probably more like I don't know, maybe I don't know.
Because I would say 6 years the most normal because it was basically a normal school year, but he was suspecting that Draco Malfoy was a Death Eater, but he couldn't do anything about it because he didn't have evidence.
Yeah.
And then just Dumbledore died. And then the war was truly starting because Dumbledore had died and all this other stuff. And like Voldemort was already back, but he was truly back and actions were in motion and things like that. Yeah. Well, they were already in motion, but you get what I'm going. Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like the most normal school year. And also in the books, despite the book being really long, you hear the most about classes in that book. Also in that book, you get to hear about Snape being the defense against the dark arts teacher, which is really interesting. Also, it's really funny, in my opinion, between the banter between Snape and Harry in that book. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I did enjoy that one. Like as a kid, I found my favorites were the ones that everything happened in. But like as I got older, I realized like everything that he must have like went through in all of those. And don't get me wrong, like they're still good books, but like I felt bad for him. And as like growing up after I'd first read them all, I did not like the sixth year, like the sixth book, because it was like quote unquote boring. But like I don't know.
I guess I have mixed feelings about the last book. I liked hearing about all the classes and stuff because you don't really get to see that in the movies. And there were a lot of classes and stuff like that. And you get to hear a lot of conversations with him and Dumbledore. which I guess is kind of interesting, but I guess I just hate Dumbledore. um, yeah, I know I really like the Order of the Phoenix book, but the movie is just so off from the book that I'm like,
Yeah.
But the movie is like my comfort Harry Potter movie, just because it's so off from the book.
I must say, my favorite is the third. Like, there's just something about it.
My favorite is the fourth one. I still like the third one, and then my second favorite is the sixth one, and then my third favorite is the third one. Like 3rd through 6 years, like the prime time of movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, also my favorite book is the third one though. The Prisoner of Azkaban is a really good book. In itself. Yeah.
Plus, I just, like I said before, like how I love the Marauders, and now after like knowing, I don't know, after like reading like all the young dudes and stuff like that, it's just different to see in Harry's perspective rather than like theirs, like see how he sees them and like looks at them. I don't know, it's just warms my heart.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think I got into the Marauders while I was reading the Harry Potter books. Or probably while I was almost done. And the scene that I didn't cry while reading the Harry Potter books or like really watching the movies either. Yeah. But the scene that almost made me cry reading the books was that scene. It's in the movies, but the scene is way longer in the books, where he has the resurrection stone and like all the Marauders are sitting next to him. That scene is so sad.
Oh my gosh.
That scene is so sad. I had to like close my book for a second and I'm like, that was probably one of the saddest scenes I've ever read in a book. Also like Fred's death scene, because I like Fred a lot. Fred and George, my favorite characters, and I was like, also because it's so different than how it is in the movie, just because there's a lot happening in the movie, but it's so sad in the book because Percy's like, I gotta go get him, and I was like,
yeah, like I love Fred too, and like whenever I see or like read that scene, I'm like, don't cry, like, yeah, it's definitely hard.
I think that from the books and the movies, people really, I mean, I guess is kind of a bad thing as well. Like, if you're someone who's only watched the movies, and I get like if you're not in the books, so you don't really like to read or you don't have time to read, like you have really different opinions on characters than if you're someone who's only read the books or someone who's read the books and the movies, because some of my opinions on characters changed after reading the books. Because my opinion on Cho changed, or no, probably some of my Draco changed, Percy changed, Cho changed, and probably Hermione changed, and Ron probably stayed the same. But like those are like characters who changed. They were like smaller characters, but they have more impact in the books. So my opinions on them changed, and they were generally characters who are either really like they're either liked or they're really well hated. I talked about this in the episode with Athena, where I don't like Cho because of what she did. And do you remember what happened in the book?
Yeah.
And I was like, why are people liking her? I was like, I figured these people are only liking her because they've only seen the movie and people aren't talking about what she's done in the books. And I'm like, guys, no, this bitch crazy. Like,
because my sister, who's like quite young, I'm trying to get her like into Harry Potter because we're supposed to go to Disneyland soon. And when I went there, we went to like Universal Studios and like all the Harry Potter like world and stuff like that. I didn't read Harry Potter then, so I had absolutely no clue. But my sister now, like she's growing up, and I'm trying to get her in Harry Potter, but she's only seen the movies up until the 7th, and like her opinions on some of the characters like is a lot different than I was when I was her age, because I didn't watch the movies then. So it's funny. it is quite funny to like, I don't know, just look at that and see the differences between the two.
Oh, also Pansy. My opinion on Pansy changed. God, she is so racist in the books. Oh my God.
Yeah.
She's by far one of the most, probably the most racist character in the books.
Yeah.
And then Draco is way more rude in the books.
Oh yeah.
Same with Snape. But I still like Snape. I talked about one of the episodes why I like Snape. I think it's because
it's like kind of hard for me to like Snape, to be honest.
I think it's because I don't like Hermione, and him and I don't like Hermione for the same reason. So I'm like, mutual agreement. Because obviously, like I said, I don't justify him beating kids. Like, no, don't beat kids with books. That's rude. Like, I don't like kids either, but they're teenagers. like
yeah.
No. And then like Neville was straight up scared of him. That's so sad.
Oh, I love Neville. Poor thing.
But what else? What other character did I say? Oh, Percy. Yeah, so Percy, my opinion of him really changed because he plays a bigger role in the books. And at first I thought he was a huge dickwad. And then his redemption arc was so worth it. He had a big redemption arc in the books. And Ginny is a really big character who's really different. I loved his redemption arc. I thought it was really worth it, and that was actually really well written in my opinion. And it made me really sad whenever he was like, "No, I could save him," and they're like, "He's gone," and I was like, "BRB," crying. But it made me like Percy more after he realized his mistakes and everything, because they don't really show that in the book. Like, it showed him there, but it didn't show him apologizing for what he did, because in Order of the Phoenix, they talk a lot about Percy not talking to the family anymore, and Percy not showing up for stuff and stuff like that, and Percy working for the ministry. So that's why I like the books, is because they bring in smaller characters, and Ginny is just a way better character in the books. So
yeah, Ginny in the movie is
a little bitch. She really is. And she's like, "Oh no, your shoe's untied. Let me tie it." And then book Ginny will be like, "Your shoe's untied, haha." Like,
yeah.
Book Ginny is so cool.
I love Book Ginny. Yeah, one day I dream to be as cool as Book Ginny.
Honestly. Moving on from differences. I hope this rant about the differences makes more of you guys want to read the books. I know that they're kind of hard to find, but you can definitely find websites that have them.
Yeah.
Because I used to read illegally all the time.
I will read books illegally. FBI, if you're watching. No, I don't.
Yeah, FBI agent. Shh. But yeah. Also, or you can like look up stuff, but there's a lot of like little tiny differences that are like worth it, in my opinion, like character differences, rather than like just event stuff. Anyway, moving on to like now book stuff, I guess, rather than, well, it's kind of in the movies, but it's more book stuff, I guess, because the books were written first. Is all the stereotyping in the books. There's a lot of it. a lot of it. Where to start? First of all, Cho Chang's name. Ew.
Oh, yeah. Like,
no. Like, her first name is totally fine. Her last name, disgusting. Like, or her first name could have been like Lily, not Lily. Ah, fuck. Her first name could have been like, I forgot all names.
But just like as an author, just get creative a bit, you know?
Her, I was literally trying to think of another name, and suddenly I couldn't think of another name for Cho. I don't know why Lily was the first one. And I was like, fuck, I can't name her Lily. Anyway, yeah, that. And then what else? Both the two Black characters, so Dean and Blaze, both don't have dads.
Really? I didn't know that.
So it's mentioned for sure. I don't remember Blaze, but I know it's mentioned for Blaze. It's for sure mentioned Dean in the last book, because Dean is on the run with like a group of people, with Grippo being one of those people, and he's like, I don't know what my blood status is because I don't know my dad. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I do remember that now. I didn't know about Blaze though.
I'm pretty sure Blaze's is mentioned at some point. And I wish I could remember when it was. Or maybe his dad is dead or something, but I'm pretty sure he's a pureblood. Or he's a half-blood, but I wish I could remember. But I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a dad either. And then yeah, Pansy, for anyone who doesn't know, like I said with the racism thing, Pansy says that Angelica's braids look like worms on her head. Or like worms coming from her head or something. And then what else? Oh, all the goblins are supposed to like represent like Jewish people, I'm pretty sure. Because they all have like big noses. And it's like, obviously it's a stereotype that it's not obviously, but it's a stereotype that Jewish people have bigger noses and that Jewish people are greedy for money, because historically Jewish people would work at banks, I'm pretty sure. And I think in Gringotts, if you look on the floor at the bank, well, Gringotts is the bank. Apparently the symbol looked really similar to like a swastika, apparently. I've never noticed that. I've never tried to find it, but someone else pointed that out and I was like, what?
Wow. I'm gonna have to remember that next time.
But and then other people said that all the goblins' names have really similar like names to, or not have similar names, but like all their names are like not popular, but like have kind of Jewish, not Jewish names, but like
I know what you're trying to like say though.
I don't know how to like, because you can't be like Jewish is not like German, like you know how be like, oh, you have a really German last name. Like I don't know how to phrase that. But I read a whole article about it and I was like, I didn't know this. I only found out the goblin thing like within the past year. But I knew like generally everything else. And I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. Wow.
But I knew for sure it was the big nose and then them being greedy for money. And I was like, oh my God. That's the worst.
That is.
Oh, and can we talk about how for sure that like how little like representation of LGBT like there is? Like Harry's very definitely bisexual. He says like that there are 4 men who are very handsome.
Yeah.
Guys don't say that. Like unless they're a little fruity.
There are a lot of chances that she could have taken to like have like LGBTQ like Dean and Seamus. I love
Dean and Seamus.
They definitely had something going on. And
for real.
Sirius and Remus, like I'm a strong Wolfstar shipper. Like that.
They apparently Gary and David, the actors who play Sirius and Remus, thought that they were a gay couple.
Like there's the chemistry there.
Because they were told that there was going to be a gay character in the thing, and they thought it was them. And then it came out that it was Dumbledore, and everyone was like, what?
Like honestly, Dumbledore, like all people that could have been chosen. And
it's stupid. It should have been Remus and Sirius.
Yeah. There were a lot of chances that could have been taken to make some really good couples, but instead, no, we'll have Remus marry Sirius's niece.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like,
Yeah,
that
I guess that kind of falls in the boat. I was eventually gonna get there. That JKR, like some of the writing at some point was bad.
mm-hmm.
Like I was like, generally, I get that JKR is a woman writing a man, but women can write men just fine. But
Yeah.
she didn't need to describe 4 guys very handsome from a man's perspective unless he's going to be very fruity. Because it was like Bill, like Tom Riddle, who were the other? Oh, Cedric, and then it was like someone else was very handsome, and I was like, was it Victor Crumb? I don't know, but it was for sure those 3. Like I was like, what? What?
That is very true. Like there are many other ways to describe someone being good looking if you want to make the person that you're writing like straight. But I don't know. I feel like some of the word choice did like lean towards Harry not being straight.
Yeah. And like some of the scenes like were written weirdly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I noticed that too. Like I didn't really notice until I was reading that maybe like halfway through the series that the writing wasn't as good as it could have been. Because I know someone said that they had like rewritten like a chapter or 2 of the Harry Potter series, and I wrote it. No, I didn't write it. I read it, and it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's from like the first 2 chapters of the book, of like the first book. But it was really good, and I was like, what the heck? But of course, like it's great that JKR came up with like this whole world and whole fantasy and everything, like wizards and everything. But there were, like we said in the beginning, tons of plot holes and poor writing and all this other stuff. So I'm like,
yeah,
do better. Like there are other other authors who do this and don't have these issues,
yeah,
or answer their own questions.
yeah. And then I find like with world building, like don't get me wrong, like it's got to be hard to create this whole create the world that she created within like the books that she did. Like that does have to be hard, but you can definitely do it a little better. I do find another thing that really did make me mad while reading was like the houses and how not everyone, but a lot of the Slytherins were always evil. And like a lot of Hufflepuffs were always these bubbly, outgoing, always happy-go-lucky people. When like if you think about it, it's just I don't know. That always made me mad. Like just I don't know how to describe that, but there were a lot of people that were like in the books that could have definitely been in other houses by like what I had read, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I've talked about this in a couple episodes. About people who are in the wrong houses. Or in like our opinion, or housing stereotypes. But I do think it's quite annoying how Gryffindor is typically like the main characters here to save the day and all that, where like some Gryffindors don't want that or are not like that, and Slytherins are not evil and things like that. And obviously we only get a couple examples of like from each house of characters who are not like that, like Slughorn and Tonks and Luna and stuff like that, like of characters who are not like their houses, like their house's stereotypes. And I find it annoying that even like today fans really stereotype houses that they aren't in, because they generally don't take the time to care about other houses, because people still now stereotype that Ravenclaws are smart, are intelligent, and that's not what we're about. It's just that it's stereotyped so badly in the books that Ravenclaws are smart. And that's why I hate that people are like, Hermione should be a Ravenclaw, even though it was asked in the books why she wasn't a Ravenclaw, and I'm like
just because she's book smart, just because she reads doesn't mean she's like a Ravenclaw. Like I love reading. I like to consider myself being smart. I'm not a Ravenclaw. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Ravenclaws, but like I'm not a Ravenclaw. But
I will forever go on a tangent why I believe Hermione is not in Ravenclaw. I made a video about it once too, because a whole comment section was like, Hermione belongs in Ravenclaw. No, if you think that, then you are truly not a Ravenclaw, one. And two, you know nothing about house traits if you believe that Hermione is a Ravenclaw. She's so much in Gryffindor. If she isn't in Gryffindor, she's a Slytherin. I said what I said, and most people generally believe that.
No, I can see that. There are definitely a lot of people that I do feel like could have been in other houses, but just because of like, I don't know, one little thing, they have to.
I think the only reason why that they could be in their own house is because the hat takes their opinion into consideration. I think that's the only reason why they could be in a certain house. Otherwise, that's just playing devil's advocate. But otherwise, I think that they could belong in other houses. But yeah, now that I'm done being on a tangent about why Hermione isn't a Ravenclaw, but yeah, I do think it's annoying that we get like house stereotypes in the movies / books and in real life, because people are following what we get in the house and books. And even Pottermore isn't correct when sorting people.
Yeah.
I was literally talking about this earlier with someone. I've been put in 3 different houses on Pottermore.
Oh, same. Like I used to redo it like every month just because, and I would get a different house like all the time, and it was quite annoying. Especially when like childhood me, who so badly wanted to be like a Hufflepuff, would get like, I don't know. And you can also like, I find when you're doing the test, it's very easy to get what you want. Like if you're going in there thinking, okay, I want a Slytherin at the end, like you can like choose based off of that.
I never got what I wanted. Childhood me thought I was a Hufflepuff, and I'm definitely not a Hufflepuff. Even though I do really value Hufflepuff things, I am not a Hufflepuff. And I am very generally some Hufflepuff traits, and I do value them. I'm just not. I value other Ravenclaw things more, I guess. But yeah, I've gotten Ravenclaw, Gryffindor, and Slytherin on Pottermore. So the one that I suggest for anyone now who wants to take it is the one where it gives you all the Pottermore questions, all 36 or 32 questions, and then it gives you the percentage of each house. That's the one I recommend the most. But on Pottermore, I've gotten Ravenclaw twice, Gryffindor once, and Slytherin once, and I was like, all right, we're done taking the Pottermore quiz, because it's not accurate. The only thing I really do on Pottermore now is do the Patronus quiz. Like I would do that, or do the wand quiz.
My Patronus is a hippogriff, and that's like one of my biggest flexes ever.
That's so fun. Yeah. You wanna know, I've done the Patronus quiz a couple times. And so something fun about me is that I've always like wanted to fly, like be able to fly somehow. And every time I've taken the Patronus quiz, I've gotten something that can fly, which I think is so funny. Yeah. My Patronus is a magpie, which is the same as Fred and George, which I think is very funny.
Yeah.
And have you ever looked up the meaning of your Patronus? You should after this, because
I forget what it is though.
It's like I like looked it up, and it's always like really accurate, because I looked it up back whenever I was at Universal, because I was talking Patronuses with another friend, and their Patronus is Buzzard. So whenever this person listens, they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, that's me. We had this conversation." Yeah, I know. And I looked up like how we are dueling wise, and it was super accurate. I was like, I feel like that would definitely be me. Like, just look at like Hippogriff Patronus meaning, and it'll explain. I'm like,
I'm gonna do that right now.
I wonder if I can find the link that mine said.
I also like, and the funny thing is, every time I do it, I do get things that fly, but sometimes I get like horses. And the main things I get are like things that fly, like eagles or like mostly birds of prey when I do it, like eagles or like osprey and stuff like that. And then I get types of horses, which I find is really funny because it's just like so close to a hippogriff, I feel like.
I wish I could remember. I think the last bird I got was like a blackbird, and then the bird before that I think was like a hawk or something. I don't know. But the magpie I think is my favorite. So mine says a magpie patronus symbolizes its mental power and knowledge. They are incredible in transfiguration. They rely on their cunning and wit over brute force, which is funny because I'm a Ravenclaw. And Slytherin and Gryffindor tie for the second house. And they are very playful and enjoy playing some games over fighting. But they are but they are still very clever duelists.
Wow. Okay, so I found one, and it says the hippogriff is a proud and dangerous creature, half eagle, half horse, and the offspring of a horse and a griffin. If your patronus is a hippogriff, you likely have a demeanor that commands respect, or else. You've been known to defend those you're loyal to, and lash out at those who don't earn your respect. At the same time, you're capable of growing to love former enemies after a bloody battle. Whoa.
I once found like a Tumblr thread that had like super descriptive. I wonder if I could find it again. Super descriptive Patronus descriptions are like, and I read off my friends. She's like, stop it, that was so accurate. I wonder if I could refind it again. I don't know how I found it.
I found one that it's very, very similar to the one I just read. And the other things that is said is they don't forgive insults easily. And like it's talking about how people with the patronus of a hippogriff have a very large and loving heart.
I found it. I actually found it, what I was talking about. Okay, I'll read you mine and then I'll find you yours.
Okay.
So it's magpie. Those with the magpie patronus are known to be quite creative, and they can show that in many ways. Some with drawing or writing or being some with drawing or writing and being musical, whereas some show with their sense of creative fashion. They're very perceptive and find it easy to see when emotions change in the people around them. And they can observe a lot of information with the work they have at task. They are normally intelligent, but not all are just book smart. Some are emotionally and socially intelligent. I was like, hello? Hang on, I'm going to read you yours.
Okay.
Those with this unusual patronus are truly unique in character. Wait, have you already read this?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe.
People with the hippogriff are fiercely loyal to those who earn their trust, often willing to go the extra mile for those who they care for. If you have a friend with the hippogriff, it is likely that they are the most loyal to you above all others. Those with the hippogriff patronus are often very proud and self-assured. They do not forgive insults easily. You just read this. Occasionally, this pride can drift into arrogance and cause friction with those around you. The characteristic which makes it so rare to find people with the hippogriff is the large heart. Not many people have such a large, loving heart as those with this patronus, something very special indeed.
Where did you say that was? Tumblr?
Yeah.
Because the one that I read it on, I don't think it was on Tumblr. They may have just like copied that and put it on a different.
The one that I read, I had to go to a different Tumblr than the one I was on.
So my sister, she had done it, and I think she got like a mole as her patronus. And I found that really funny. But then she made me like delete her account and take it again. And then she got a squirrel. But she really wanted like a cat. Like
me too.
A cat.
I think if I like got to pick mine, I love cats. I have 2 cats. But yeah, I love cats. I've always had a really big connection to cats. But like there are a lot of different kind of cat patronuses you can get.
There are,
Um,
yeah.
but also like I don't want the same Patronus as Umbridge. So
Yeah.
um but yeah, also but like young me was like a unicorn. But now I'm older. I'm glad I have a magpie because that's cool.
Yeah.
And it feels accurate to me.
I don't really know what young me wanted. I feel like I wanted something like similar to Luna because I loved Luna. Like as a child, like I was like, oh my gosh, I love Luna. So I really did want to like share a Patronus with her, but
She has a hair, right?
yeah. I never got anything like a hair. I was always being like crazy. I was like, what is this? But yeah.
I'm trying to remember what my sister's Patronus is.
I think my mom took it and got like a Great Dane or something like that. That was kind of cool.
Part of me wants to think that my sister's Patronus is a rat, but I don't think that's right. I think it's like some sort of rodent, but I can't remember what it is. I think hers is like some kind of rodent. Wait, what's Dumbledore's Patronus?
Isn't it a phoenix?
Oh yeah, that'd be a cool one too.
That would be. Yeah.
How did JKR decide what animal's gonna be a Patronus? Yeah, this buzzard can be a Patronus, I guess. Yeah, this mole rat can be one, I guess.
Like, is it like Rita? No.
Rita Skeeters, I think, is a beetle.
That's her animagus, though. It's probably saying like Patronus, though.
I thought their Patronus changes to what their animagus is.
I think, or like when they do their animagus, like when they do their transformation or whatever, it is their Patronus. I think that you do have like the same animagus as you do with Patronus. Like
yeah. But like I know Tonks had a normal Patronus, and then when she fell in love with Remus, it became a wolf.
Mm-hmm. Lily, didn't it? Or did Lily's change? No, I think hers was always.
No, theirs was a perfect doe and buck.
Names did change for Lily, though. I do know that.
Did it actually change? I thought it was always a doe.
Maybe it was always a doe. But like, if you're an animagus and your Patronus changes, what would that mean for you as an animagus? Like, that's what I've always wondered.
I don't know.
Like with Sirius, like if his were to change into a wolf, I mean that's not that much of a difference. But like, if his did change into a wolf, would he be a wolf rather than like a black dog?
I don't think his would change. I think I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, well, okay. I truly think that whatever your animagus is what your Patronus is, truly.
Yeah.
So I truly think if I go through the animagus process, I'm gonna be a fucking magpie. I mean, that'd be cool and all, but I don't want my animagus to be a magpie. I'd want to be a cat.
Because for me, like when I was like doing like scripting and stuff like that, I was like, okay, well, my Patronus is a hippogriff. That's really cool. But then I was thinking like, well, Sirius can like go into the Muggle world as his. Same like with like Peter and all of them. But like you're walking down the streets and you see this like griffin horse mix. Like you
so you're trotting down the street.
Yeah, that did make me want to change it, but I just didn't really know what to.
Yeah. Okay, wait, no, I truly think that because McGonagall's animagus is a cat and her Patronus is a cat. Yeah. Because like I said I always wanted to fly, but I don't want to be a little baby bird.
Yeah.
What do you think is the coolest Patronus?
That's a good question. There's like dragon. That would be.
Wait, there's a dragon. Oh wait, yeah.
That would be really cool. Especially like for your animagus to be a dragon as well.
Walking around the street in a fucking dragon.
But is there like a bat? I feel like a bat would be cool, even though that's not like something that's like, you know, a magical creature. I still feel like a bat would be pretty.
I know there's a thestral. That would be cool.
Thestrals would be cool. But if you were an animagus as a thestral,
well, they can't. Technically, you could still walk down the street as a thestral unless those humans have seen death, right?
But would it be the same as being animagus? Like, or I don't know.
I think it would still follow the rules as a normal thestral. I'm just thinking about after the Battle of Hogwarts, almost all those students could see those thestrals.
Yeah, that's really sad.
Well, they probably had a great class touching those thestrals.
Yeah.
They were like, what's pulling them? And then all the thestrals are like, also, what else? Oh, like obviously a unicorn. I haven't met anyone who has a unicorn Patronus, but I know that that's also kind of rare. I forgot that you could have a dragon Patronus. I would say a dragon also. I think I know Draco can't cast Patronus, but I know a lot of people headcanon that Draco's Patronus would be a dragon.
Yeah.
If he could cast it. Okay, wait. If you have a dragon Patronus, whenever you cast it, you know how it's kind of like the size of what it is. So does that mean if I cast it, is it gonna take up the whole space of the fucking room? Like
it's a little dragon. You never know. It could be just like a little baby dragon.
It was just a thought. I was like, wait a second. I cast and this huge humongo dragon comes out of nowhere. Yeah. The dragon fights off Dementors. That's funny. That I just thought about it.
Same with like being an animagus, like you turning into a dragon. You'd have to have like a pretty open space to be able to do that.
I think the coolest thing about being an animagus, like if it were your Patronus, you would get to see what kind of like colors you would be.
Yeah.
Like if you were a dragon, let's say, like what color dragon would you be? I think unicorns in Harry Potter are all white, so you really don't get to have a color. Yeah. And like the different kinds of dragons and stuff. What other thing is like if you were a dog, well also there are different kind of dogs, I guess, but like I think Ron is like a terrier, I think. Okay. Like he's like a little terrier, right? He's a little kind of tiny dog.
Yeah.
But you get to see like what kind of colors you are and stuff. That's cute in my opinion.
That would be cool, yeah.
Dude, imagine if Harry, Ron, and Hermione went through the animagus transformation. Also.
That would be. Wait, what's Hermione's? Oh, an otter.
Oh, yeah, an otter.
Yeah. I like otters. That would be cool.
They're so cute.
They are. Yeah.
Dude, imagine like, first of all, you see a buck, an otter, and a terrier just running. Oh god, that's such a random.
Imagine going through the like animagus like transformation or whatever. Like that's supposed to be like really painful. And imagine coming out with a bug or a rat. Like that would be really disappointing.
And it also takes a really long time too. Like Rita Skeeter come out like Beetle.
Yeah, that's just what I wanted. Like,
oh my god. My god. Like, imagine being like a spider.
Oh.
Wait, can you be an acromantula? Can you be an acromantula Patronus? That'd be kind of cool.
That would be. Like, I don't like spiders, but I think that would like be cool enough for me to like it, you know?
Yeah, I don't really like spiders either. My sister loves spiders. She has a whole bunch of tarantulas has a whole bunch of tarantulas in her in our spare room. And while we were at Universal, she bought an Aragog, and now it's just chilling in there with all the actual real spiders that we have. So
my sister, like, she wanted a pet tarantula, and she's like very young. And I was like, no tarantulas up in here. And she wanted a snake.
Snakes are pretty cool.
Like,
I like snakes.
I do like them, but not to know that they are in the room next to me. I think that's scary.
Do you have anything else to say about bad things, Patronuses, anything like that? Otherwise, we will close out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't really think of anything else. I mean,
Watch us think of stuff after this episode's over.
yeah. I mean, like we covered quite a lot.
So this has been the episode where we shit talk Harry Potter. Thanks for listening. But no, I was kidding. Where we basically talked about the bad things of Harry Potter. Of course, we still like Harry Potter. We're fans, but of course, we can criticize it. Obviously, like you can always criticize the stuff you like. I literally criticized Marvel in the first episode I did. But yeah, it's just that it's really easy to criticize Harry Potter.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
So thanks again for being on this episode with me.
Thank you so much for having me.
And stay tuned for next week's episode next week. I don't know how to end this. Bye.